In this episode of the Range Minded Podcast, there are 3 new guns that I am excited to share with you. Now, I don't have them. I wish I did. I wish I could actually give you a hands-on review of what they are, but we're still going to talk about them. And yes, I monolog again. But hey, that's why we're friends, right? Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this new episode of the Range Minded Podcast. Hey gang, welcome back to the Range Minded Podcast. You are listening to Steve. That's right. I am the host of the Range Minded Podcast, but maybe some of you already know that. So just to give you a quick update, I'm sorry about not having an episode last week. If you heard my little teaser episode, yeah, my dad had another stroke. If you know the history of what's going on with my dad, things aren't looking so good for him right now. So any prayers or thoughts or whatever are completely welcome. We'll take all the blessings that we can get. And we really do appreciate you guys. Anyway, I thought I would do something a little bit more uplifting than normal tonight. We haven't really talked about some new guns coming out. Now, this night might not be a very long episode, but hopefully it's passionate, hopefully it's exciting, and hopefully you get something good out of it. Because man, there's some cool guns that just came out this last few days anyways. So let's just jump right in, shall we? So I don't know if you guys remember a couple years ago, actually, man, it's been more than a couple. So Ruger came out with their 57 or 57, or I think it's the 57. I don't know exactly what they called it. It's a handgun that shoots the 5.7 by 28. I bought one. I actually haven't shot that much out of it, honestly. It has been kind of a safe queen. I'm not going to say I was completely excited when I bought that handgun. Well, that's not true. I was excited when I bought the handgun, but when it came to actually shooting it and operating it, I wasn't as excited as I would have been if I, spent a lot of extra money and maybe bought the 5.7 by FN, which I think is an amazing gun. The cartridge is pretty damn cool anyways. I mean, if you're rocking, I think out of the pistol, and I can't remember what that velocity is, but it's like 1,800 feet per second or something. It's crazy fast for a little bottleneck handgun cartridge. It's very awesome. Anyway, the Ruger 57 handgun, it's a good gun. It's got a 1911 grip. It's got ambi safeties. It's got an okay trigger. For me, anyways, I need to spend a lot more time behind that gun because I noticed that when I was rocking it, it was shooting really, really low for me. And not because I was mashing on the trigger or anything. I was really slowing down, really concentrating, and really trying to deliberately pull that trigger. Actually, not even pull, press that trigger straight back to get a good, solid impact on where I was aiming. And like I said, it was aiming or impacting really, really low for me. But that's not what we're talking about. And maybe you already know where I'm going with this. So Ruger just introduced the 5.7 or Ruger 57. Again, I don't know exactly what they're calling that. Anyway, let's just call it a 57 because I think that's what it is. The Ruger 57 carbine. So I'm absolutely excited about having a 5.7 in the lineup in a carbine. I think that cartridge is, like I said before, I think it's absolutely awesome. You're getting killer velocities, killers, hypothetical, okay, or that's just a term to use to express my excitement about it. That little cartridge is rocking, and out of this carbine barrel, I think it's going like 2,000 feet per second, something ridiculous. So for rabbits or squirrels or just plinking, man, what an awesome cartridge. I would love to see a company, if any of you guys are listening out there, manufacturers, I would love to see a company make one of these in like a little bolt gun with like a 10 round detachable magazine or something. That would be so awesome. Anyways, I'm kind of getting off in the weeds because I am actually excited about this gun. So, like I said, it just came out just recently. Some of you guys probably already know about it. The cool thing about the gun, about this carbine is it is the exact same grip. Looks like they just pulled the grip off of a one of the handguns, slapped it underneath a carbine, a new receiver. So it's got the ambi controls as far as um, the safety selector is concerned. I think you can swap, or it comes with a swappable mag release, so you can go left or right hand mag release. And also, there's a non-reciprocating bolt handle that you can switch left or right. Now, it still ejects on the right side, so some of your lefties might be a little frustrated with it, but it's super cool. Um, it's a cold hammer forged barrel. It comes with a half by 28 thread on the end of the barrel. So if you want to run a specific can or whatever, something compatible with that high pressure cartridge, you can. Another thing that's really cool with that barrel is it's like a spiral flute. So you're getting good heat reduction. Uh, you're getting a pretty solid platform as far as the barrel's concerned, and it looks like I want to say it's an 18-inch barrel. Let me. Oh no, sorry, 16 and a quarter. Oh boy, all I have to do is read, right? Yeah, 16 and a quarter inch barrel. The receiver and the heat guard there is all aluminum. It's all black anodized, so it looks sleek. It looks cool. It's got a full length pick rail across the top from the receiver to where the stock attaches all the way to the end of the handguard. Is there's a pick rail all the way across that, and then it also has it looks like M-lock slots at the 3, the 6, and the 9. So you can run a light, you can run maybe an angle foregrip or whatever you want to put on there. Where it's a carbine, you can run a straight up vertical grip if you want. It does come with the Ruger sights, so like the ones that come on their AR style rifles, just the plastic fold up pop up sights, and they're okay. I mean, they're not the world's greatest sights, but they do the job. Um, like I said, you can flip the reciprocating, excuse me, the non-reciprocating bolt, the charging handle on the left or right side, which is cool. Then you can whatever you want to do, right? If you want to rock it on that right side, maybe that's a better operation for you. But what is super cool about this as well is um, that from what it looked like, a lot of the mass of the bolt is above the bore axis of this little carbine. So you're getting an awesome straight back recoil impulse is coming straight back into your shoulder. Watching some of the videos of some of these guys shooting, I was watching just a short 22 Plinkster video on it, and it does not move. Like it is not that little cartridge is going to kick all that much either, but it is such a good sturdy platform. It looks pretty fun to shoot. And then on the back, there's a pick rail on the back, like a 1913 rail or whatever, and that stock is adjustable for length of pull. It looks like there's an adjustable cheek weld as well, which is nice. And it also folds on the left side of the rifle out of the way. So if, if you're, you know, on the four wheeler, whatever, horseback, or whatever, you want to chuck it in a bag, um, it's not too long. Like obviously the weight is not going to be bad at all. Looks like it's just under 6 pounds, but where it's got that foldable stock, like if you have a one of the smaller like Everly stock backpacks, you can fold that up and slide it in the back there, and it's just not going to be too cumbersome. It looks like a pretty fun little carbine to shoot. I was talking to one of my buddies the other day, and he said it reminded him a lot of the Keltec PMR 30 or CMR 30, their little carbine in the 22 mag. I don't really see that. I don't think it looks that much like it. I guess it kind of does. It is kind of square. I mean, it's not real sleek and low drag looking, but I'm okay with that. I think the platform you're getting, I think it looks pretty dang cool. 5.7. I wish more companies were making 5.7 ammo. Aguila, if you're listening, or Aguila, whatever, you know who you are. If you're by chance listening, or if you know somebody that works at Aguila, again, whatever your name is, make 5.7. We need more. I don't want to just be stuck with Federal or FN. I want to see more choices. And I know there's some other boutique ammo manufacturers out there, but I just want more. And obviously, the more that's out there, that they're going to be more competitive in price. 5.7 is a sweet cartridge. And just by way of information, if you've ever shot the P90, or if you have a desire to shoot a P90, or if you have a chance to shoot a P90, do it, because that little bastard in full auto, man, it is so fun to shoot. It's not cheap to shoot because you can just rock a box of ammo, uh, and keep them all honestly on paper, really really fast. It it is a pretty cool gun to shoot. But anyway, I love that you're able to thread on a suppressor. I did a Instagram live last night with Joey from PWS out of Boise, and they just came out with a suppressor that would look pretty awesome on this little guy. Anyway, you're probably wondering, Steve, is it made in America? And yes, Ruger's been really good about manufacturing in the United States. Looks like it's made in their Prescott plant, so not too far from Idaho, but not too close either. At least it's made in the U.S., which is sweet. Which is another good reason to support Ruger because they are manufactured in the U.S. Now, I was a little disappointed with the suggested retail. MSRP on this bad boy is $979. But if you know how MSRP works, you'll usually be able to find it a little bit cheaper at your local gun store. It is pretty sweet. And if you're curious about it, if you want to see a little bit more about it, jump on Ruger's website. I think it's cool. They do make some state compliant versions, so if you still live in California, which you're not going to get it in California, let's be honest, or some of the other states that have any kind of restriction, they do make state compliant models as well. Pretty cool though. Pretty cool. And like I say, I love half by 28. I love 5.7 by 28. I think that is just a rad little cartridge. Something else that I didn't know, like I knew there were some new guns coming out. I don't have any kind of special access to the information, where I'm not in the store all the time talking to distributors and stuff as much as I was. I really don't get the DL on some of the new stuff. So this one actually, I shouldn't say it surprises me because this company is really good about bringing out new models that are a little bit different. Glock, I love you. I will always be a fanboy, but it would be nice to have something a little different from Glock once in a while. So Smith & Wesson, oddly enough, a direct competitor of Glock, and maybe you've seen this as well. They just came out. If you remember, the 2.0 series came out. It's been several years ago, and with the 2.0 series, they had a better trigger. They had some different palm swell, a grip module, whatever you want to call them, that you can interchange on the back strap that fit the hand better. There was a lot of improvements compared to the M&P series, semi-auto series from years before. Well, they've done something different again, which is still looks exactly the same. Is they've gone ahead and they've created an aluminum frame for the 2.0, and they're calling it the metal series, which it is. It looks pretty cool. I mean, it looks exactly the same as the 2.0, but it's aluminum. And you might think, well, that's really stupid. It's going to be way too heavy. It's going to be awkward. It's not going to fit any holsters. Well, you'd be completely wrong at that. Again, I haven't shot this gun, but knowing how the 2.0 series feels and looking at this gun, I have a feeling it's going to feel the exact same way. They said that it'll fit all the same grip modules as the 2.0 series, so which I think is fantastic. It comes with 4 different sizes when you buy the gun itself, and all the controls and everything's in the exact same place as the original 2.0. The trigger looks a little bit different. I'm pretty sure it's a metal trigger as well. But they're good forged parts. They're not just junk, right? It is aluminum, so they didn't really. I was actually surprised to see what the weight on this guy was. It says it's 30 ounces. The original, I shouldn't say the original 2.0. The M&P 2.0, I want to say that was like 27, 28 ounces, something like that. So It's just a little bit heavier, which is understandable. It's got some good looking checkering on the front strap of the grip there, and everything else is the same. You can switch your mag release left or right. You don't have to press the trigger down to take this one down like the previous versions, which I know some dudes that's like a big deal to some shooters where um, like Glock, you got to press the trigger to uh to drop that sear and striker out of the way so you can slide forward. But with the 2.0 series, you don't have to do that. It does fit the regular holsters. The dimensions look like they're exactly the same from what I've been researching. So if you have a holster that you spent a bunch of money on that you're rocking the regular 2.0 series, this will still fit. Now, for right now, which if they made this in a 5-inch, I think that'd be absolutely awesome. I would probably wager that a 5-inch version is coming, something in the Pro series or whatever. It looks like there is an optic cut on this guy. So if you're running a small optic or whatever, I'm guessing because it doesn't really say here. I'm guessing that the standard base plates are working for like what would work for the 2.0 series, the plastic series. With this one, I would assume that they're all rocking the same, where everything else seems to be the same. So this gun is intriguing to me. Um, I would like to shoot it and see how it feels. Watching some of the other videos I did with this, I need to get one in my hands. I really need to shoot one because it's hard to tell from somebody else's opinion because you don't really know um, if there's any kind of affiliation or whatever with any of these new products coming out. You really don't know how honest some of these people are because you don't know their relationship with the distributor or the dealer or the manufacturer. So without getting it in my hands, I really don't know how it's going to feel, how it's going to shoot. Because each gun is just kind of different too, right? They seem to have their own little attitude sometimes. But from what it sounds like, where it's the aluminum frame and everything else, I'm assuming all the internals are the same, so you can swap them out. Uh, because it's an aluminum instead of plastic frame, the recoil impulse should be a little bit lighter because the density of the material, and there shouldn't be as much flex in that frame, which I know some of you might not think, oh, it's not going to flex anyways. I can't see it flex when I'm shooting. Of course you can't because the cyclical rate of that slide, the the impulse is so fast you're not going to see any flex unless you have some slow-mo stuff going on. So I'm really curious to see how this gun feels. Of course, all the cool kids that have them that they could have shot them first, they're gonna say they're awesome. They're gonna like them. I haven't found any negative information on this gun yet, so I'm excited. I really want to get a hold of one of these. It looks like right now they come with the non-safety version. So if you're one that has to have a thumb safety, this one doesn't have it yet. I'm assuming they'll have models coming out with thumb safety just to be compliant in certain states. This gun MSRP's at $900, which is kind of a big bite to chew if you're used to buying regular M&Ps. I can walk into one of the local stores here in Idaho Falls and find a used M&P for anywhere from $300 to $500, and a new one's not going to be that much more. So an extra 2, 3, $400, it's kind of hard to swallow right now. But it is a new gun. The more models they come out with, I'm assuming they're going to drop in price a little bit. But you know what happens when you assume? Mostly it just turns me into an ass and nobody else. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, so that's the second gun that's come out that I'm kind of excited for. And this next one came out today. Today's September 1 of 22. And I was actually really excited to see this gun. Really, really excited. Let's see. You can hear my computer click. I got to click back here for a second. So, Springfield, love them, hate them. Um, I think their handguns are fine handguns. They make a great 1911. Um, I think I think they got a bad rap. Yeah, they probably made some bad decisions a few years ago, but I've got a couple of Springfields, just in their striker fire. I like them. That was one of my first guns. Was a subcompact, and I think they're fine guns. Some of the other stuff they've made, I know there's some guns that are kind of turds that they've made. Um, I'm sorry if you bought the 911, the little tiny handgun. I don't think that gun quite met up to the hype, but it looked nice and it felt okay in the hand. Reminded me a lot of the old was that the Colt Mustang, the little 1911. Anyway, I digress. So they just came out with the 1911 DS Prodigy. So I'm assuming the DS stands for double stack. Now, right now, this gun is only in 9mm, and they'll probably leave it only in 9mm. Honestly, they might come out with some different calibers down the road, but we'll see. So, yep, it's a. If you're familiar with what a 2011 looks like, this, and they're saying this is not a 2011. That's a trademark term, I'm assuming. But the 1911 DS is a double stack. Um, it's a forged receiver set, so you got the slide and the frame are both forged. They're supposed to be super durable, super tough, and then it's got a plastic or a polymer grip module that bolts onto that gun, and it looks like, if you're familiar with staccatos, I mean that's the kind of gun that we're talking about, right? MSRP on these are actually, for what it is, it's pretty decent. So they have two different versions. Well, actually, they have four, I guess, if you really boil it down. So in the 4 1/4 versions, which is like a duty size, right? They have a an optic and a non-optic cut, and it does come with a plate, obviously, in the optic cut, and that rear side is integrated in that optic plate, and it looks like a pretty solid connection how they've done that. It'd be hard for me to explain. It's dovetailed and it's got a different plow out, and once that plate's in there, I mean it's not going to slide around and move. I think agency actually helped them out with the design and implementation of that plate. So it does look nice. It's a good looking gun. And then they also have a 5-inch version, both optic and non-optic. Uh, I think they look awesome. I was actually really excited to see this gun, and I was really curious to see what the price point was going to be on this, and we'll get to that in a second. If you think of a 1911, if you're familiar with 1911, I mean that's what it is. It's got that grip safety, which you know Browning was a genius anyways when he designed this gun. So it's got the standard grip safety. It does have ambi thumb safeties left and right. The right side, I mean, this gun is really designed around right-handed shooters. Sorry, lefties. That's just the way it is. But it does have ambi safety selector. The right side is a little bit smaller of a bench than the left side, so it doesn't get in the way with your trigger finger, your knuckle of that index finger. I don't know if the mag selector or the mag release is ambi on that. It may or may not be. I haven't seen any information on that. But it is a good looking little 1911. It's built for racing. They say it's a duty gun. I don't know if I'd ever carry something like this in a duty situation. I may. Oh, excuse me. I may carry something like this in a duty situation, but I don't know. I probably not. I'd probably stick to something striker fired, not single action. Not that I'm against single action. I'm a 1911 guy as well. I like them. The other thing I do like about this gun is um, the serrations in the slide are appear to be anyways nice and deep. They have a little bit of space between them, so you can get a good solid grip on those serrations. But everything else looks pretty sweet on this gun. Honestly, it's a pretty clean design, sleek design. It's got a rail on the bottom, so you can mount, your favorite light or whatever you want to mount on the bottom. That maybe a grenade launcher or chainsaw attachment, whatever. The shoulder thing that goes up Maybe you could put that on there too, but you need a tax stamp for that. Magazine capacity. So this is a double stack 1911. Okay. So we're not worried about 8, 9, 10 rounds in the magazine. No, no. It's a double stack. So depending on state compliance, whatever, um, that's a thing. I'm sorry for some of you guys that live in terrible states, but it ships with a 17 and a 20 round magazine. So you got one of each. Obviously, the 20 round is going to be a little bit taller. It's got a base plate on the bottom of it, but it says also on their website that you can buy a 26 round mag. So if you're running competitions, I mean that's rad. That's absolutely awesome, and they're good steel magazines. I can't remember who's. They're not Metgar, but they're a good solid steel magazine. They're not gonna get broken or anything. Oh, Duramag, that's who makes them. Duramag. The mags aren't terribly cheap though. That's the downside. They're all $60 um for these mags. Now it is what it is. I know you can complain all you want, but if you're gonna pay a big boy price, you're gonna have to pay the big boy price, right? So we talked about the mags. They're $20, right? Or sorry, $60. But the gun, what would you expect to pay for a double stack 1911? I guess that's the first question. What would you expect to pay? And I'll talk to my managers and see what we can do for you. Nope, it's not a used car. It's a good looking 1911. It starts out MSRP for both the 4 1/4 and the 5-inch non optic ready. Or sorry, they are both optic ready. Man, I didn't look close enough. It no matter which one you buy, it's already cut out for an optic. It just one comes with the Hex Dragonfly, which I've never used Hex optics before. I'm not familiar with them too much, but anyway, so you can buy it with or without the optic, which is rad. I might as well spend a couple of $100 and get the optic with it. So non-optic MSRP is $1,500. With the optic is $1,700, which for 1911 double stack, 2011 whatever style guns, that's a pretty good price. Um, I would really love to get one of these in my hand. I'd love to shoot one. I want to feel what it's like because I've shot staccatos before. You know that a good solid 1911 just feels good to shoot. I mean, it's made by or designed by one of the most amazing uh, arms designers ever, and not the I know not the double stack. I get it, but it's just 1911s just feel different and they feel good. I mean, they're American. What else can we say? These guns, boy, now you're gonna say, "Steve, are they made in the United States?" Probably not. Let's look and see here if it says where they're proudly made. Find a retailer. No, I don't want to find a retailer. I'll find it. Thank you. Oh, it doesn't really say. So I'm guessing like some of their other handguns, they're probably not made in the U.S., but I'm not going to say 100% sure on that one. Like I say, agency helped out with some of the design work on here. The other thing I'd be really interested in is the feel of the trigger. So if you've shot lots of 1911s, I've built a 1911 before. I know what it takes to get a good feeling crisp trigger. When it comes to a manufacturer like this, I would be really concerned, I guess. Not really concerned, interested. I'd be really interested to see how that trigger press feels. 1911 is just they're finicky, and you guys, if you've been around 1911s enough, know. Um, I think I've talked about the one I built before. I built a 6-inch 45. Yeah, it's cool. I've posted pictures of it before, and I haven't found sights for it yet. The sights went up missing um, during assembly, and I've never found them since. And I think we did talk about me building a 1911. I'll talk about it here again right now, actually, because what a perfect time to share. When it comes to building a handgun, there's I mean, I assume there's a revolver, like the possibility of building a revolver. That takes a lot of work, way outside my wheelhouse. I wouldn't even attempt to build a nice feeling revolver. A Glock or a Smith or those, super easy. Um, I was a certified Smith and Wesson, not a gunsmith. What do you call it? Anyway, I could service and fix the Smith and Wesson M&P and the 2.0 and the shield. So I understand how those guns work. I get how they work. But let's talk about 1911s for just a second. So maybe you guys know and understand, or I know I've talked about it before. I hand built a 1911. It's easy to put Glocks together. It's easy to put striker fire guns together. They all have their own quirks. They can be difficult in some ways, but it is not like building a 1911. Uh, and I need to show you that gun again. I know it, but when you're hand fitting everything, when you're working hard to get that gun to fit perfectly, it's got to be precise. It's got to be precise. Uh, it was a lot of fun. Like I had to hand stone stuff, hand fit stuff, hand file. Uh, what's that purple stuff? Dicum. I mean, I had Dicum everywhere. I looked like a Smurf. It was just everywhere. But it was all necessary, right? It was a journey that I wanted to take, and it was a lot of work. For everywhere from fitting the slide, because you got to hand fit the slide to the frame, and once you get that fitment exactly where you want it, then you fit the barrel. And this is at least I think the process that I went, and then the cam or whatever. Everything has to fit and work precisely, and it is a lot of work. It was a lot of fun. And then you gotta get it to where once you're finishing it, so I did all the Cerakote and everything under the supervision of Jeff over there at Independence. I got to do all the Cerakote, and that takes up some of the tolerances. So everything has to be fit perfectly. That's what I'm getting to, right? Perfectly. I know what kind of work it took to make a perfect feeling gun to me, and when you're working on the trigger and all that stuff, everything has to work together in a 1911. Everything from the mainspring to the trigger, even the magazine has to fit perfectly around the way the trigger's designed in those guys. Everything has to fit and work together perfectly. And maybe because I was a newbie at it and I didn't understand how everything worked 100%. I did by the time I was done, because I put that gun together and took it apart so many times. Because it takes a lot of work to make something like a 1911 run. It was so much fun though. Don't get me wrong, it was a lot of fun. In fact, last time I was in Boise was a few weeks ago, and somebody asked me, because we did a 1911 build class as well. Just one though, just one. And the reason was it was too much work helping these very novice um, gun builders, personal, dudes wanting to build their own guns with their sons type of thing. It was way too much work than it was worth. And we decided to never do that again. All that being said, it really comes back down to, is this 1911 DS from Springfield gonna feel that way? Because I know how I expect 1911s to feel for me, and I've had a chance to handle some very expensive 1911s. There's no rattle. I mean, everything's just smooth as glass. And when you're playing in that league, you better be able to bring your A game. So hopefully Springfield did it with this gun. I'm very excited to see this gun. I mean, this would be something I'd be willing to purchase. It's not cheap. It's starting at $1,500 on the way up. Of course, that's MSRP. It might be a little cheaper. Might be a little cheaper at your local store, but it's a lot of money. And chances are, if I can buy, if I had to choose between a $300 Glock and an $1,800 1911, I'm probably gonna buy the Glock. Let's be honest, because I know it's gonna run every time. I know my tolerances are a little bit better on the Glock as far as having junk in there. 1911s can be finicky. That's why I'm really surprised that they're calling this a duty gun. And it sounds like, I was joking the other day when last time I was in Boise, I was joking about, well, what agency is gonna issue staccatos? And it sounds like there's a few out there that are issuing that gun. I was really surprised because for me, in my experience with um, 1911 type brace guns, they don't like any kind of dirt. They 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 have to be clean and they have to be perfect. When they run though, boy do they run. They run really well. Anyways, guys, I told you this wasn't going to be a very long episode. I just wanted to bring these new guns to you. I'm sure there's other guns. There's more stuff coming up. Those are just the three I wanted to talk about because they were kind of the ones that really stuck out to me, and and I think they're awesome. I really want to get a hold of that Ruger carbine. I really want to see how that feels. This is the same with that Smith and Wesson, where it's now all aluminum frame. I would be really curious to feel how that guy goes. It'd be something that I'd be willing to buy. I have my reservation with Smith. We talked about that in a different show not too long ago. I got a little frustrated with Smith and Wesson, and since the CEO sent that letter out, I've kind of ate my hat on that one. So keep up the good work, guys. Keep up the good work. Anyway, we always talk about how important it is to be good stewards of the Second Amendment, and now it is more important than any time. Constant attacks on our freedoms. If you listen to the president's speech the other day, I mean, he called all of us terrorists, basically. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Anybody that enjoys their Second Amendment right, well, he did say, "I don't want to take away guns. I've got shotguns myself. We used to go hunting in Scranton, right?" There are 20 million known AR-15 style rifles out there, and apparently, if you own one, you're a domestic terrorist, and you're never gonna fight back against the government because they have F-15s. Any president that says that he's willing to take up arms against his own citizens, come on, wake up. Hello, wake up. Being a good steward of the Second Amendment means getting out in public and showing the United States how normal it is to be a gun owner, how normal it is to be a person that carries for defense. We're everyday Americans. Are there some fruitcakes? Absolutely. And I've met a lot of them on the range. There are some real pain in the A gun owners out there. I've experienced it. I've seen it. But when the government is telling you you can't be armed because guns are bad, and then he's actually arming ATF agents, IRS agents with the very same kind of gun. Well, not even that. It's the military version with M4s. He's arming them, but taking away our rights. Man, wake up. Wake up. Take somebody shooting. Share your love for the firearms. Share your love for the country. You might be labeled an extremist. I guess I'm an extremist. I love my country. I believe in God. And I love my rights. and I will fight for him. Don't back down. Stand up for what you believe in. You know what's funny is the crazy left, they have the courage to stand up in a room full of conservatives and tell us how it is without fear. But gun owners, conservatives, whatever, they're too scared to stand up in a room filled with their own kind. Why? Why are we so scared? Because somebody's going to call us a name? Sticks and stones, baby. Sticks and stones. I grew up being teased. I don't care what people think about me, what they have to say about me. I know who I am. And I know who you guys are. Don't give up the fight. The Beastie Boys said, you got to fight for your right to party, right? Well, it's a different kind of party. It's our party that we may not get to enjoy, but our kids and grandkids need to experience that real freedom that we had when we were kids. Otherwise, they're going to hold us responsible. They're going to hold us responsible. They're going to wonder why we didn't do more, why we gave up. Don't give up, guys. Don't give up. There's so much opportunity. There are hungry people out there looking for truth, looking for freedom. But when all they see and all they hear are lies about what the Second Amendment is, what guns do, they're being lied to. And we all know it. They know it. President Biden said that an AR-15 bullet travels 5 times faster than any other bullet. Any other bullet. This was in a speech he gave the other day. He also said that the parents of Uvalde, he is pissing on the graves of those kids to make political hay. He said the parents of the kids at Uvalde that lost their kids, that are grieving over the loss of someone they loved. They said they had to bring DNA samples to identify their children. Folks, 556 does not do that. It doesn't. And there are countless videos and forums and countless amounts of information to show that that isn't true. They consistently say that the guns we enjoy, semi-automatic, they're not just going after AR-15s. They consistently say that semi-automatics are weapons of war. That's a lie. And you know it, I know it, and he knows it. But he's using emotion and fear to manipulate and to lie. We have the truth on our side, but we're too damn lazy and too damn scared of being called a name to contradict and to share. Don't give up the fight. Don't roll over and let it happen. Gang, I know I maybe this is why you come to my show, right? Maybe this is why you come to listen to us, is to hear my monologuing. When I say monologuing, I always think of The Incredibles, right? When Syndrome, oh, you caught me monologuing again. You know, that's basically my entire show, isn't it? I don't monologue to be boring to fill time. I monologue because somebody out here listening to this show needs to hear it. Somebody does. If you felt like you've been impacted by this information or something I said, if you felt like that burning desire within to share, act on it. get education. If you feel like you don't have the knowledge or the fortitude to fight back and argue about your rights, then you probably need to read some more books. Get a little bit more knowledge. Get some courage. Not the liquid kind of courage, because that doesn't mix with guns. But actual courage. Don't give up. Don't give up. The sun will rise. I promise. It gets better. But I don't know how much worse it's going to get before it does. And you just need to be ready. You just need to be ready. Appreciate you guys for hanging out. Appreciate you guys for dealing with my monologuing. You guys are awesome. You guys are rad. Peace out. Anyway, take somebody shooting. Be safe out there, guys.
Hey gang, thanks for hanging out for this episode of the Range Minded Podcast. We really do appreciate the amount of time that you spend with us. We think it's awesome. If you have any questions or concerns or maybe an idea for a guest or a specific topic, go ahead and email us at rangeminded@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. And if you like what you heard, go ahead and give us a good like and share, because we want to really grow the community. After all, we are stewards of the Second Amendment. Anyways, we hope to see you here again next time. Peace out.